When you're a challenger brand and you're going up against competitors who have a stronger name recognition, they have bigger budgets, more resources, there's no better way to shoot yourself in the foot than to be unfocused. Hey, I'm excited to talk to you today on a favorite topic of mine. It's one that when I bring it up on LinkedIn, when I write about it on LinkedIn, it seems to hit a nerve, and that's creative briefs. And I believe sincerely that your briefs are not tight enough. And I'm not talking about the cotton waistband stretchy briefs that you might have been thinking about. I'm talking about the creative briefs that serve as the springboard for creative messaging. Now, I'm also going to say that mine might not be tight enough at times. And I think this is an ongoing conversation we need to have within creative departments at agencies and on the client side. And I think it's something we look at all the time to tweak, because they're not always tight enough. And so it's not the pot calling the kettle black. It's the pot reaching out to the kettle in solidarity and saying, let's hold hands and solve this together. But here's why I believe that your briefs aren't tight enough. Somebody within your organization lacks the discipline to commit to a singular key message. They want to pack in everything, or worse, they want to put the onus on the creative to solve strategy. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit when I said that. They want to put the onus on creative to solve strategy. It's terrible. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more later, but that's a huge no-no. But there's a misguided belief that an open-ended brief will lead to blue sky thinking, just liberate creative minds. You've probably heard let's just see what you guys come up with, But that's famous last words. Here's the misnomer. Total freedom, absent of boundaries, does not lead to great work. It leads to lost time, confusion, frustration, and just burning your budget. There was a great study that I love to cite as it relates to this topic called the Fenced-In Playground Study. But essentially, what they looked at was creativity in preschoolers within a playground. And what they did is they put a bunch of preschoolers in a playground, open playground, no boundaries, no fences. Go where you want, go play, right? Blue sky. Liberated. You do what you want. Well, all the kiddos just kind of congregated to the center of the playground and they huddled together where they felt it was safe. Then they looked at the kids with a fenced-in playground. So clear boundaries on each border. Kids were liberated to be more playful, be more creative, and push up against the boundaries that were set for them. So I think there's a great lesson in there. When you're a challenger brand and you're going up against competitors who have a stronger name recognition, they have bigger budgets, more resources, there's no better way to shoot yourself in the foot than to be unfocused. And David Ogilvy said it best, advertising giant. He said, give me the freedom of a tight brief. So here are some questions to ask yourself before you go through the arduous process of lining up people's calendars for your super exciting kickoff meeting where you have the brief and you're all excited. There's a lot of work that goes into even just coordinating that and making it happen. So before you do that, ask yourself these questions. I'm going to go through 7. I'm going to tick through 7 of them. The first one is the creative brief, both creative and brief. Sounds silly. Sounds so silly. I just asked a silly question, but it's really not. Think about it. It's called a creative brief. Is it creative? I used to work with an account person that was delighted to do kickoffs with briefs because she saw it as her opportunity to inspire the internal team that was working on it to go forth and do amazing work. So she kind of looked at it like her moment of creativity to go inspire their creativity. I always really admired that. I thought that was cool. So it needs to have some creativity in it, but it needs to be brief. It needs to be succinct. Brevity is an art here. And I will say a great creative brief has never come in contact with a stapler. Never come in contact with a stapler. That's hard to do. Number 2, what's your why? Okay, so belief is the first step to bringing out your challenger within. Belief in why you do what you do. Belief determines your business goal. It puts stakeholders in lockstep, helps you avoid obstacles, but belief exudes a persona that really turns customers into advocates. So it's got to show up in the brief somewhere. Foundationally, that concept needs to be there. Number 3, is it honest? I've had a lot of briefs that feed me a bunch of BS, and that's really uninspiring to work on. So if you're promoting something that isn't entirely unique, go ahead and say it. Not everything is the next iPhone, okay? That's okay. But too many briefs are packed with industry leading and innovative and a lot of puffery words. And I just believe that sugarcoating the challenges leads to product misrepresentation. Sometimes there's tension in the fact that it might kind of have an issue or a problem or suck, or everyone's going to notice why that's weird. No, there's an elephant in the room sometimes. And why not address it? Why not talk about it and stop with all the puffery words? I think that's powerful. Number 4, is it overloaded with adjectives? We want to be fun and innovative and personable and trustworthy and quirky. No, Pick a lane. Number 5, is creative being asked to solve strategy? This is the one that I foreshadowed earlier that makes me feel a little ill, but it's not the creative's role to explore strategy, but it happens all too much. Avoid this by having a super clear strategy and brief and getting your main client and then all the stakeholders involved to sign off on it. Also get the peanut gallery that inevitably shows up for the creative presentation and has opinions to sign off on it too. Again, wasting time, money, resources, frustrating people, and burning budget if that doesn't happen, because inevitably there's going to be a rework. There's going to be righting the ship. You hear that all the time. But then and only then does the creative team go hog wild, once that's signed off on by all the people involved. So is it being asked to solve strategies? That's probably a whole topic on itself. Creative should not be trying to solve the strategy through creative development and exploration. As we're exploring territories, it's not our job to be like, well, yeah, but maybe the strategy's here, or maybe the call to action should be this. If the call to action and what do we want people to do and how do we want to motivate people is not baked into the brief, hit the brakes, figure it out. There's an opportunity there. Number 6, has the production budget been clearly articulated? If you think about our typical process, there's creative development. That's where we're exploring ideas and territories and, ways we can go. And then we get somewhere, we sign off on it, we move into creative execution. That's really what I'm talking about. Creative execution phase, the budget, say we're shooting something, a video shoot, photo shoot, we're got to make something for TikTok, whatever it looks like, has that budget been clearly articulated at the beginning? If it hasn't, creative really runs the risk of being born dead. But remember, resourcefulness is a form of creativity. Go back to the boundaries on the playground, go back to the fence lines. The team just needs to know the ground rules. I don't think it has to be something that really holds people back. If you just know the ground rules, you can work towards it. And then number 7, and the last one of the questions you need to ask before you call a creative brief finished, does the audience even exist? And that sounds a little weird, but I've had some briefs that, like, for example, might say, we're targeting the millennial mom, Whole Food shopper who leans conservative politically, invests in self-care, and cooks 6 nights a week. It's like, okay, we'll meld all those attributes together and create some fake person, but let's just get out of deck language sometimes and be like, do we know this person? Does this person really walk the streets? Do they exist? Because if they don't, let's just hit pause because we're faking it. So, and I'm not just knocking anything around segmentation. Segmentation is critical. I get it. I just think we can really get caught up in our own deck language and BS language when it comes to speaking about audiences. So let's recap. Creative brief, important why, leads to the best work. It prevents burnout, frustration, arguments, lost time, lost money. And to get it right, 7 questions. Is a creative brief both creative and brief? 2, what's your why? 3, is it honest? 4, is it overloaded with adjectives? 5, is creative being asked to solve strategy? Really big one. Big, big, big. No. Don't let that happen. And number 6, has the production budget been clearly articulated? And number 7, does this audience even exist? So if you're not happy with your creative product, or you think it could be better, you just think that maybe the creative isn't even yielding the results you want, might be time to change your briefs. So go out there and do so and make awesome work and let me know how it goes. Thanks.